welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, the Washington Bullets and the Miami Heat are intertwined within each other. And the Sacramento Kings come into this equation too. How so? Okay. So, let's start in 1996. Okay. So, there was a deal in place. The Miami Heat had a deal in place over the summer of 1996 to sign Juwan Howard to a 7-year deal. Okay. The Miami Heat were going to sign Juwan Howard to a 7-year deal in the summer of 1996, right? And the deal was done. Okay. The deal was done. Just one problem though. The deal was voided in the summer of 1996. Actually, the deal was voided in July of 1996 to be exact. Okay. Then in late July, the NBA rejected the contract because of salary cap violations. Then in August of 1996, the Miami Heat filed a temporary injunction to prevent Juwan Howard from signing with another team. So the Miami Heat, they still wanted to sign Juwan Howard, okay? So they were going to have Howard, Mourning, and Hardaway among trusty reserves, P.J. Brown, Ike Austin, Rashawn Leonard, Dan Maharley, okay? So they were going to have a squad that was seriously going to compete with the Bulls, okay? And so then on August 5th, 1996, Juwan Howard ended up re-signing with the Washington Bullets, okay? And contingent on the league's approval. So the Bullets had to forfeit their first-round draft pick in 1997, okay? So they had to forfeit their first-round draft pick for 1997. And the NBA Players Union agreed on a settlement that allowed Juwan Howard to return to the Bullets. Okay. So, just imagine what that squad would have been able to challenge Chicago in the East. Okay. Okay. Man. That squad really would have challenged Chicago, okay? But I don't think they would have been able to beat Chicago, though. They would have challenged, okay? They would have given Chicago a run for their money, but I got to give the edge to Chicago. No, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so in 1990, so in the summer of 1997, the Wizards, the Bullets changed their name to the Wizards to portray a quote non-violent image. Okay, and they finished 42-40. Okay, coming off a 44-38 season where they were swept by Chicago in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, and they were coming off a 44-38 season. And they finished 1998 at 42-40 and missing the playoffs by a little bit. The New Jersey Nets ended up getting in. And of course, they were swept by Chicago. Okay. So one of the reasons why the Wizards finished 42-40 in 1998. Okay. Y'all remember George Harrison, okay. Y'all remember George Harrison, 7'7", okay. Ferocious inside defender, could block shots, right? So he was injured for the entire season in 1998. And the way he got injured was he was filming a movie with Billy Crystal called My Giant. Okay, so he was injured while he was shooting a movie with Billy Crystal, and that injury caused him to miss the entire 1998 season. Okay, which is one of the reasons why they finished 42-40. Okay, and so then Chris Webber has some legal troubles. Okay, and I think his legal troubles led the Washington Wizards to do this right here. Say, hey, look at this.
NBA observers were taken by surprise on Thursday night with the trade of Chris Webber from Washington to Sacramento in exchange for veterans Mitch Richmond and Otis Thorpe. Webber is just 25 years old and has great but unfulfilled potential. He was an All-Star in 1997. Richmond is a six-time All-Star and one of the best shooting guards in the league. He'll be 33 years old next month. While Richmond has been a solid citizen throughout his career, Webber has gotten into plenty of trouble, including a January arrest for marijuana possession, and he is under a grand jury investigation for sexual assault.
I think his most recent troubles have probably been the most significant to this point. We feel there's a good possibility that, that at his age he will still try and move beyond that and understand, have a better understanding of what's right and what's not and what's acceptable.
Mitch Richmond has shown over his professional career that he's just that. He's a professional. And he can provide some of the things that I feel this team sorely needs.
Wes Unseld and the Wizards had to make some kind of move. The Wizards didn't even make the playoffs this year, despite the sixth highest payroll in the NBA. And it's known, Peter, that Webber was never a team leader.
Well, that's not exactly right. He has led them astray on many occasions. But I think you've got to give Petrie an awful lot of credit here. He was under tremendous pressure to move Richmond before the trading deadline, but he held out. He got himself some lavish talent in Webber, 25 years old. If he can ever condescend to get his act together, and if he can mentally accept going to the Kings, who are basically on the outskirts of obscurity, then they've got themselves a franchise player. And to make him happier, I foresee the Kings going after his old buddy Latrell Sprewell in a trade.
His buddy from the Warriors, seriously, reuniting those two?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. John, who got the better end of this deal?
I think Washington got the better end of the deal. Even though I'm a fan of Chris Webber's talent, I still think Otis Thorpe is a great player. He's a great vet. He's a world champion. And then Mitch Richmond has always been a great player, best kept secret on the West.
And the other issue here is Rod Strickland. He's a free agent, and he said he wasn't coming back to the Wizards if Juwan Howard and Webber came back. So without Webber, you might see him re-signing with the Wizards, although sources say that the Rockets are going to make a big play for Rod Strickland.
It's also worth noting that Chris Webber has been named to the NBA's World Championship team to play this summer, but his legal problems, he says, may force him to withdraw. We'll be right back.
Still to come, we'll check in on the Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and Bulls, which gets underway tomorrow in Chicago. And we'll look at the seething rivalry between the Lakers and Jazz, two teams with a genuine dislike for one another.
Yeah, I think Webber's legal troubles led the Washington Wizards to do just that. And this was before the lockout happened. So this trade took place during the NBA playoffs, okay? This trade took place during the NBA playoffs. So the lockout wasn't in effect yet, right? So the trade was still valid. So the trade went through. And people say, who got the better end of that deal? I would say Sacramento got the better end of that deal. They were getting a young stud in Chris Webber. He had a fresh start, okay? And Richmond, he had been around since 1989, and he was getting, and so Washington was getting a proven veteran scorer who could still score, right? And but Sacramento long term got the better end of that deal, okay? I'll say Sacramento in the long term got the better end of that deal because they went to the playoffs in 1999, 2000, 2001, made the Western Conference Finals in 2002. Okay, so let's talk about the 2002 Western Conference Finals, okay? this is where Mitch Richmond and Chris Webber cross paths. Okay, so the trade goes through in 1998. The Kings are exciting. They go from playoff contender to championship contender in a few short years, right? And Mitch Richmond is on some bad Wizard teams. Okay, on some bad Wizard teams, and he ends up signing with the Lakers in 2002. Okay, and their paths cross in the 2002 Western Conference Finals. Okay, and Mitch Richmond admitted it was difficult to see Sacramento turn the whole thing around without him. Okay, that Mitch Richmond wasn't able to be a part of it, the turnaround in Sacramento. Okay, he admitted that was difficult for him. So here he is with the Lakers facing his old team, and Richmond has some emotions about that. He has some emotions about facing his former team in the Western Conference Finals, right? I do remember he didn't play much during the season, and he didn't play much during the Kings series. But I do remember him playing a little bit in Game 5. I do remember that, right? I do remember him playing a little bit in Game 5. And so, and the Lakers ended up winning that series in 7 games, and Mitch Richmond ends up winning an NBA title. And he actually hit the last shot of Game 4 of the 2002 NBA Finals. He hit the final shot in Game 2, and I would say Sacramento, they still got the better end of that deal, right? Mitch Richmond, a few years down the road, will be an NBA champion with the Lakers, okay? And I was genuinely happy for Mitch Richmond because I wanted to see him get hit one. I really wanted to see Mitch Richmond get hit one, okay? And I was so happy for Mitch Richmond, okay? And among the other players I would like to see get one, I wanted to see Malone and Stockton get one. Just not versus the Bulls, right? Just not with the Bulls. I really wanted to see Malone and Stockton get one. I wanted Bob Harkley to get one, okay? But it just really made me really happy for Mitch Richmond when he was able to win a NBA championship and then retire as an NBA champion, okay? So, yeah. All right, that's it. And that's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am out of here. May God bless you, all my subscribers.